Good morning, Scott Wells here with Veteran Caregivers, and today we're going to pull a few approval letters from the VA that we had in our database I want you to see. We're going to look at a couple of things. First off, the approval amount, how much are they going to get? But more importantly, there's a paragraph in each one of these letters that is a little different every time when you read them, but it's consistently saying the same thing, and it comes down to this. It explains what your medical expense is for a 12-month period. It doesn't say it in a monthly period, so that's a little confusing. And then also it says, if for any reason that your medical expense changes, if any reason you're not spending the same amount of money each month, you need to let us know. When you read that paragraph, as a layman myself, when I read it for the first time, I kind of just went right through it. I didn't really understand what it was saying. If you've got to understand the calculations with the VA and what they're trying to establish what your income is, and we're going to go through that here in just a second. This paragraph is actually very important. It can cost you a lot of money in the future if you're not paying attention to it, mainly from this standpoint. If you were to reduce your income, so let's say you have in-home care of $1,500 a month, and the VA is reimbursing you for that care. If you decide, I don't want that care anymore, then you got to communicate that to the VA. We do that for you, obviously, but if that happens, you're going to lose that money. No ifs, ands, or buts. Here's the worst case scenario. Let's say you decline the care and you decide, I just don't want that anymore. If we don't communicate that back to the VA, then you're going to continue to receive those funds. And when the VA finds out about that, they're going to come back and take it out of your Social Security check. That's why this is so important. You need to know about it, be aware of it, and understand that Veteran Caregivers, we're here to protect you from that scenario. So just proof's in the pudding. So let's go take a look at one of these, a few of these approval letters and see exactly what it says. Okay, so we're looking at an approval application here. Actually, they send this letter to you every time you get approved. And for this individual veteran, you can see that they have received $1,936 per month starting April of 21. So that's great. They got maximum pension. This is a single veteran, because I know that because the maximum pension for a single veteran is $1,936. Now here's the paragraph that is so important that I wanted to demonstrate to you guys. If you don't pay attention, this can get you in trouble. So here we are. We allowed medical expenses of $19,592. So let's just take that number real quick and divide that out. Let's take the $19,592, and we're going to divide that by 12 months of time to see what the actual monthly rate. Okay, we got $1,632 is the amount of medical expense per month that this $19,592 is, they calculate that annually so that they can see here it says as a continuing deduction beginning on April 1st. So we know that $1,632 per month is being spent on medical expense. Now check this out. A decrease in the expected medical expenses is a change in income. What? What does that mean, it's a change in income? Well, again, remember the calculation from the VA is your maximum pension, which in this case is $1,936, minus your income is the amount you get. So if you had zero income, none at all, you'd always get the maximum pension no matter what. But most of us have Social Security checks. So in this case, this veteran is spending $1,632 a month in medical expense, which wiped out his income down to zero, okay? So essentially, that's why that veteran got roughly $300 in cash, and he's getting the rest in, I know in this case, in-home care. He spends some on some other medical expenses. But here's the point of the whole thing. A decrease in these expected medical expenses is a change in your income number. So if you were to eliminate your in-home care, that $1,632, he stopped paying it, and he said, I'm eliminate, then he's only going to get the difference between the $1,936, which is his maximum income, and maximum pension, his maximum pension is $19,000, and his income. So you subtract that, and that's what you're entitled to. So if you were to eliminate these medical expenses, you lose it. and it's going to change your. So the reason I mention this, and the reason I'm going through this with you guys, I have a lot of veterans who ask this question. They get on with us, they start the care, they go 6 months, and then they're like, they see their bank account and they're going, why, you're pulling out $1,632 every month. We're doing that because the VA is paying, they're reimbursing your care. So every month we put that care in, we're reimbursing. Now it's more than just care. There's insurance policies, there's fall alert systems, medical supplies, all these things that are being procured on your behalf. And the VA is paying for it. So let's go take a look at another one. I brought this in to you guys because I wanted you to see multiple applications where we have that situation. Oh, here's another one. 1936, again, it's a single veteran, fully awarded the maximum pension. But let's take a look at what is going on here. Okay, so let's do the calculation on this one again and see where we're at. Okay, we've got $18,623 divided by 12. So this veteran is essentially paying $1,551 in medical expense each month. So look, let's see what it says here. We used your medical expenses of $18,623, which equates to $1,551 per month, which represents the amount you pay for as a continuing deduction from April 30th of 21. This reduces your countable income to zero. Again, proof in the pudding of what I've been talking about. Those medical expenses are taking what his income, let's say, is around $1,500. That $1,551 in medical expense took his income down to zero. Okay? If the amount you pay for medical expenses changes, or you are no longer paying medical expenses, tell us immediately. If you don't tell us about the changes in your medical expenses, we may pay you too much money. You would have to pay this money back. Again, this is why I'm bringing this video to light, because if you're reading this, I can tell you this approval letter is typically 4 or 5 pages long. I'm just pulling the important page out. If you're not paying attention to that paragraph, you could think possibly, well, if I eliminate my medical expenses, maybe I could just keep this cash. No, it's absolutely inappropriate, and the VA will come and get it. All right, let's go take a look at another one here. All right, so this particular veteran, this is a unique scenario. I brought this one about because this veteran, unfortunately, I want to read this paragraph. We received information your spouse passed away on August 30th. We wish to extend our sincerest condolences to your family. You can see here that as a married couple, they originally had $2,208 per month coming in for their couple pension. When she passed away, he went back down to the 1936, which is the maximum pension for a single veteran. Simply wanted you to be aware that that can happen and to be prepared for it if circumstances within your marriage or your situation. Let's say you're single and then you become married, then you could potentially get more money from the VA. But once again, I want to go through, here's the paragraphs again. Let's just do the numbers once again. Okay, we've got, in this case, $13,110 in medical expense divided by 12. That equates to $1,092 this veteran's spending in medical expense, so per month. We used your medical expense of $13,110, which represents the amount you pay for in-home care expenses as a continuing deduction from June 1st of 2020. This reduces your income, countable income, to zero. So again, this veteran's income obviously is less than $1,092, which is what he spends on medical expense every single month. And so because of that, he is reducing his income to zero or even less than zero. He's spending $1,092 and his income is now zero to the VA's eyes. I'm not saying that you lose your Social Security check. He obviously is still receiving a Social Security check, but now he's receiving that Social Security check and the VA is reimbursing the amount that he's spending on medical expense, which, by the way, Veteran Caregivers is paying for that on your behalf, okay? Sorry if I hit my microphone. So we're paying for that on your behalf, and essentially that gives you your Social Security check and in-home care, insurance policies, other medical expenses that you might incur, dental, it goes on and on and on. We help you through all of those types of things, and we're using this money the VA is giving it to you specifically to pay for medical expenses. And in a lot of, of course we have in-home care. You guys know how much medical expense you spend, whether it's on an insurance policy like Medicare. They pull that money out each month for your medical expense for Medicare. You've got potentially fall alert systems, incontinence supplies. It goes on and on. You get my point. So let's take a look at another one. We've got one. Okay, this is a survivor's pension, and the reason I know that is because $1,244 is the maximum pension. So on July 1st of 2021, this individual received the maximum pension, and you can see we were paying you as a surviving spouse with no dependents. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. We allowed medical expenses, let's do the math on this one, $15,758 divided by 12. You can see in this case, this individual is actually spending more than the maximum pension on medical expenses. So when we looked at everything that they had, including in-home care, plus insurance policies and other things that they were spending on medical expense, it was actually higher, much higher, I'm gonna say by a couple $100, much higher than their actual monthly income. I think family was helping out to some extent. But bottom line is, here's the great paragraph again, right here. I'm gonna pull this up slightly. Let's see here if I can get this to pull up. Oh, I think I'm at the end. I'm at the very end, so, okay. We allowed medical expenses of this amount, which equated to, in our calculation, $1,313 per month, as a continuing deduction beginning July 1st of 2021. A decrease in these expected medical expenses is a change in income. Again, the VA is saying they calculate your income by, if your income is X, let's say $1,000, and you have $1,000 worth of expenses, then to the VA they subtract that medical expense from your income, and it goes to zero. So they're clearly communicating that right here. A decrease in these expected medical expenses is a change in your income to the VA's calculation. I wish they just would enter that last piece. To the VA's calculation would be nice. To prevent an overpayment, you would have to immediately report any decrease in these unreimbursed medical expenses. So lastly, once again, here's proof in the pudding. I've shown you 3 or 4 applications, approval letters that are clearly saying, if you change your medical expense for any reason, veteran caregiver, we need to know about that so we can report that to the VA. If you decide, we don't want in-home care anymore, I don't want this insurance policy anymore, I don't want the fall alert system, whatever it be, we need to know about that because, again, this money is coming from the VA. We are essentially paying for these services up front for the previous month for you on your behalf, and then essentially the VA is reimbursing that. So if you cut it off, what happens is the VA continues to make that payment because the paperwork that we sent to the VA communicates the different things that you are using the medical expense for, right? Again, it could be a lot of different things, but let's just use in-home care as an example. I'm spending, in this case, this guy's spending $1,313 every month on medical expense. If for any reason he says, Scott, we don't want in-home care anymore, get rid of it, then what do? Veteran Caregivers communicates to the VA, and that tells the VA to cut that off, to stop sending the reimbursement, okay? So to any of our customers out there or any of our future customers, when we get into this situation, you need to know that once we set what we call your FV13 number, which in this case, this gentleman's FV13 number is 1313. The FV13 is a form we send into the VA that clearly states this is how much medical expense you're spending each month. So if for any reason that changes, it's our responsibility here at Veteran Caregivers to communicate that back, and it's going to cut your care off, or it's going to cut those services you're currently utilizing off. So my main purpose is this. A lot of people look at their bank accounts. The VA pays the full amount, in this case, $1,244 to a veteran, let's say, and they think to themselves, you know what, I could get that money and my Social Security check if I just cut off all these medical expenses or services that I'm having. No, that's not how that works. The VA will come back and get you, and here's the worst case scenario. Let's say the VA was not communicated this change happened, and then you went 6 months, a year. I found a guy one time that went 10 years in a row not utilizing his medical expense, and he owed $107,000 back to the VA, which they did take out of his Social Security check, and he was left with, I think, about $200 a month from his Social Security to spend. We don't want that to happen, and it's really a very simple, it doesn't have to happen. It's just that veteran care, that's why we're here to service you, because we understand these rules and regulations within the VA. God love you guys, appreciate the time. If there's anything that we can do for you, call us toll free, 888-653-1020.